John Lear is a humble and unassuming guy. So let me do a little bragging for him. He's quite simply one of the most accomplished pilots in United States history. He's flown 150 types of aircraft. He's the only pilot ever to earn every airman certificate issued by the FAA. He held 18 world speed records, and he flew missions for the CIA. By the way, his dad, Bill Lear, he invented something called the Lear jet. So when it comes to air travel, there are few people on Earth with more knowledge or experience than John Lear.
Let's say for a minute that there are flying saucers and there are aliens up there in Area 51. What are they doing with them?
The aliens give us technology, and we use that technology.
Are we reverse engineering their craft so we can figure out how to make them?
That's right. We tried to reverse engineer it, but, you know, it's millions of years ahead of us.
So do you think your dad's company was involved in some of the reverse engineering from the alien craft?
Absolutely, positively. As a matter of fact, the first company he had was Motorola, and then my dad formed his own company, became Lear Incorporated. He was very involved in all of this that was going on and went on to different projects.
Okay, time out. If what John Lear says is true, then we have an answer. Why would the government want to deny that aliens exist or that we've had contact? One reason, because the government itself is actually borrowing from alien technology. And before you roll your eyes, think for a second of the historical context. We're in a quickly escalating Cold War, one that's being fought with espionage, science, and futuristic weapons. At a time like that, you're telling me that we wouldn't do anything to maintain a technological edge over our enemies? And here's what we know for sure. In July 1947, something lands in Roswell, New Mexico, and is quickly whisked away by the military. Just 3 months later, Chuck Yeager achieves something that scientists previously believed impossible. He breaks the sound barrier. That's about 771 miles an hour. Now, John Lear is claiming that his dad had contact with aliens and created his first mobile phone in the 1940s. This was before color television, wheels on suitcases, and in an age when doctors still believed that cigarettes were good for you. By 1969, Motorola made a giant leap forward, as in one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Neil Armstrong phoned home using a Motorola, which just happened to work in space. Can you hear me now?
John, a lot of people that we've talked to that have this security clearance up there have taken it very seriously, and they will not tell us things they've seen. Why did Bob Lazar breach that, so to speak?
Because he felt that the public needed to know what was going on, how there could be something so big that affects all of us be kept secret.
Ready for one more fascinating footnote? You know what happened to Bob Lazar after his so-called encounters with aliens? He started a company called United Nuclear. They're an amateur scientific supply company that sells items such as radioactive ore, supermagnets, and aerogel, the lightest and lowest density solid ever known to man. This stuff is so light, it's only 3 times heavier than air, but it can support 1,000 times its weight, and its melting point is 2,200 degrees. I know it sounds wacky, but you have to admit, the people who claim to have had contact with aliens also seem to keep suddenly coming up with material and technologies that the Earth has never seen.
How can they possibly keep this secret for so long?
They're very good at keeping a secret. They've been into it, you know, way before Roswell. They've got it so well covered up that until they're ready to release anything, nothing's going to come out. You have no idea what you don't know.
They're now speaking to a man who spent much of his life in the one place we couldn't go.
You mentioned having been in space 6 times. Are the experiences different each time?
Yeah, they're richer because you know what to look for.
So when you were out there, did you see any other beings out there?
Nope. I wanted to.
You wanted to?
I wish, oh yeah.
But you think there's other life out there, but you just don't have evidence of them visiting our planet yet.
Every time you take a timed exposure with a Hubble, it's 2,000 galaxies times 100 billion stars. That is 2,000 times 100 billion. So within one picture, it's 200 trillion stars you're looking at with one picture of Hubble. And every time you aim it, you have another 100 trillion stars.
So you're just saying the probability is...
massive. It's a certainty.
A trillion is a million millions. So even if the chances of life existing near a star are only 1 in a trillion, for every picture the Hubble takes, there would still be 200 planets with life on them. So, I mean, what's so interesting about Earth is the atmospheric pressure, the amount of water, how close it is to the sun. I mean, all the dials are set perfectly for life. You believe that those dials are set perfectly somewhere else
That's
within?
a nice way to put it. Yes, but when you have in one Hubble picture 100 trillion stars, not many dials have to be correct, and you still have a trillion planets with life on them. But that stuff out there it's massively advanced in the evolutionary string. The stuff because
the other life?
Yeah, the life out there. But it also has had a chance to do 1 billion years of technology.
Really?
They've been around for 12 billion years. The Hubble constant pretty much defined the age.
You think there's something beyond just, you know, a certain bacteria and a certain
Out there,
volcanic ash?
they're doing interstellar travel.
You think so?
Of course. If you have an advanced evolutionary string, which has been developing technology for 1 billion years, star travel is happening.
So if you think in 200 years we got from maybe a drill press operated
Yes,
by an ox
to here,
to an
iPhone.
the
To spacecraft.
internet, to iPhone, yeah.
Or
Then
me, born and raised, when I was a kid, diesel locomotive not here. I was steam locomotive.
Steam locomotive to being an astronaut. You're
Steam
thinking,
locomotive to space.
what could another strain of life have done with 1 billion years?
With 1 billion years.
Today, there's more computing power in a cell phone than there was in Apollo 11, and that brought man to the moon and back. And these are advancements in technology that every baby boomer can vividly remember changing in their lifetime. So imagine what we'll be able to do in another 10, 100, or 1,000 years. But that's not what the astronaut is talking about. He's talking about 1 billion years from now, when our descendants look back at us and our technology the way we look back at cavemen.
Story, if you're 100% certain that there's been other life around for 1 billion years and they are traveling from star to star, why haven't they visited here?
First of all, you have to look at the statistics of, yes, there's star travel going on, but there's a heck of a lot of places to go to. Even though star travel is going on, things are far away.
But how sure are you?
I'm as sure as I can be, but I don't have the evidence. It's statistical. It's the power of life. So we have 4 million species here.
Right.
So life did not just create a handful of species. Life has got the muscle and the survivability to survive under a huge number, the dials, and you have massive time. Put those 3 together, it's everywhere.
It's somewhere else
Yeah, it
besides
is.
here.
Yeah.
The majority of stars in our universe are more than 1,000 light years away. So that means it would take an alien 1,000 years just to get here. They can't get here faster because physicists believe that the speed of light is the speed limit of the universe and that it's impossible for anything to move faster. But physicists also believe it was impossible to travel faster than the speed of sound until Chuck Yeager proved them wrong in 1947 when he broke the sound barrier. People thought it physically impossible for a human being to run a mile in under 4 minutes until Roger Bannister did it in 1954. Remember, just because something hasn't happened yet never means it's impossible. I want to believe that we're not the only life out there. Ronald Reagan says he saw a UFO with his own eyes. So did Jimmy Carter. And Stephen Hawking, one of the greatest thinkers of our time, thinks it's a mathematical impossibility to say there is no other life. But listen to what Hawking says, because he also gives us a warning. He said, we only have to look at ourselves to see how intelligent life might develop into something we wouldn't want to meet.